This video is about discovery. This set of added wires to the Greyhound fleet was put there to, and it's put there to shut the headlights off whenever the switch is off. So your total sum of your two headlights, the power runs over this switch, this auxiliary switch. That isn't shown. You'll see it later that isn't shown. These two contacts are not used in the manual, the picture of the back of it. These wires come around from the other side, like as you see me snivel about this before I came and looked at the print and got myself savvy to what was going on here. They right here is the place where there's a splice right there to a wire that used to reach right there to 21. They spliced that, sent it up to the ignition switch, into that auxiliary contact, and back to number 2. That way, when the drivers shut off the key, they wouldn't leave the lights on to run the battery down. And it has burned this, not the switch. There's nothing wrong with that contact on the switch. The heat is from this connection here. They did not, the guy, he probably had hamburger ooze on his hands when he handled into that wire and twisted it together and put the end on it, because that end underneath the screw got hotter than a pistol, and it made the copper pick up heat real quick, as copper does, and that burned the phenolic around the contact there. So this could be put back in. Anyway, that was done simply because drivers were leaving the lights on, turning off the key, and walking away from the bus, and then the bus wouldn't start in the morning. They ran the headlights all night long. So that's it. I'm going to turn you over to the video. Hi, this is August. I want to show what's going on here. I'm going to take this up. I want to look at the back of the engine switch and make some discoveries. But I do want to bring this up and out. I've got some concerns about this switch, and I'd sure like to find where we could. I think some of the other coaches use this switch too. I'll bet. Mine's working good for what it is, but there's one of the terminals. They went around something on it, and it works good. I just need to make sure it's fine. And I want stainless steel screws to hold it down. Exactly, I mean, very much the same. I might not be able to get them in that head, but now this is the piece that has to flex to come out of there, and I'm thinking seriously of unbanding this right here for this maneuver. This is awfully stiff. This may have been this must have been done. I don't think I did it, I can tell you that. But I do sort of want to undo it, because this isn't as flexible as I'd like it to be. This should be with this should be the cloth. Because the cloth is flexible, and this is cold right now. This could be a lot more flexible if indeed I was working in the I've got heat running in the back. There's no is that the end of the tape, or did that break? That was it broke. That'll just, the whole thing. But they've got a lot going on in here. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, what can I do to get? See, well, that definitely got better. Is that pretty good? That's better. This really needs to come off of here. This is not right. I don't know when or who they did that, but maybe I bring the heater down here and we have to warm this up. This is my Craftsman knife. I just put a blade in it, and I like it. I do like it. I like Craftsman tools when they belong to Sears. Too bad about Sears. They didn't keep up with the times. I'm working over here. I'm taking this stuff off. This has been on here for a long time. The color coding is there. I just don't believe that this. It could have been. This was the original tape? I don't think so. It's too stiff. Although everything was much more flexible in the day too, so I can't really call this. Okay, that. Oh yeah, I mean the flexibility, it's just showing its. Look at this stuff though, they really did. There's some change. That changed to a green. They picked a wire that they needed to do something with. Yeah, this is after the fact, man. This is like during the time they were changing the engines. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm moving the wire that I've freed in there. So I want the flexibility here. We're not going to hurt this wire, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't just go bending it around though. And well, from what I've seen, I have no reason to think that there's anything more than that's a true well done splice in there, and I don't have anything to worry about. So this knife just creasing and that plastic is giving it up the ghost just that easy, and without even thinking about hitting the existing wire. I want to know what's going on in here. I don't want any surprises. Now that I'm thinking about, I mean, I am serious about giving it a new home, but I'm still concerned about preserving the wiring method. I wouldn't want to try to rewire one of these things anyway. This all works right down to some of the air, why put in new stuff for the air conditioning? It's already there as long as it's good and you can find it. Right here, let's just drag this a little bit. All I'm doing is dragging it. So did we will be rewrapping this with the antique tape. Let me have this though. I need puzzlement thing. Yeah, we need this flexibility when we bring this thing out. I want to know anything. Who knows anything about replacement switch for this if I wanted it? There's a spot on it. I mean, it's obvious there's something been bypassed because of loss of something small. Looks to me like it connects. It's only on and off, no matter what. I mean, it's just run and off, but it looks to me like it has separate connections to the negative for several different. You turn it on and it catches them all at the same time. But if you were to, you can't keep them together. Is the way I feel about it, is that you can't keep them together because of backfeeding. So that's why those would be there that way. That's the only thing I can, well, that's what they'd had the problem with, so they did it that way. Or you just have one big terminal and you turn it on and off. But there's systems on here that require to be isolated with the power off. Or maybe they'd leak. That's all I can come up with. Or why would they do it? I'd prefer just a couple of big terminals. I need a little trash barrel here. I just, what I am recommending, you have a bundle like this, don't even think about bringing, see, we're going to bring this thing up and over. We need the flexibility that we'll have. This is just a stiff jump, but look at this. This is, hey, there you go. See, you've got movement, your ability to bring it up and crank it out without hurting the wire or connections and that kind of thing. I'm back. I had to go buy memory chips for the camera. I just it takes so long to transfer sometimes, in my opinion, when you're working. So and it rained last night, nothing to write home about, but I want to finish cutting this. I want to bring this up and look at everything, and I don't want to do it with this stuff on it. I recognize it by name. I'm going to cut this off because we're separating it. This is the work that was done somewhere else. Okay, we're going after some more of this awful tape. It was okay for right here, but it's not okay for the flexibility of pulling this thing out of the I can run this without hurting a thing. Get the other side, and that round one isn't really getting it. Okay. This old wire is like Ryan Osser's hide too, tell you the truth. This stuff off of it. I want the flexibility as we're going to pull this out of there, and I want to see what's going on down here. There's another. Now this is a splice I'm identifying here as needing to take a loom in two places, and that is definitely what you're looking at right here. This is one wire into two, and seriously, I believe that happened. That's a factory splice. It's got ooze out on It's just, that's what it looks like, and it's definitely not. That's the tape that I'm talking about. You know, it's fabric tape. That's original. So that's the way they do things sometimes, and that's a terrible. Sometimes you've been looking for something, and somebody got sloppy on a deal like that on a car, and it just made the car miserable. Made it a miserable thing for the mechanics, and you have to send it to somebody that's really has a way with the car computer, and been very interested in that. Knows exactly how to do it and where to go get what parts to get out of the junkyard. I have somebody in mind. I can't think of his name. We're just loosening this bundle up a little more and get the stuff in the trash can. This old. I'm glad that the outside of the wire isn't sticky, but the old tape is. And that tape is, honestly, don't get carried away if you're trying to save a deal like this, and it's wrapped. This should be, I think while we're doing it, we'll put a piece of tape around in a few places so this thing can breathe and move a little bit while we're bringing it out to have a look at the panels to make sure that we don't have something loose or something that needs to be addressed up there. I really want to. What time is it? Because I want to get new stainless steel screws for holding this down. Now, is that? See, I'm wondering what you got to do with this thing to. I don't know. Yeah, let's get this. Do some more. If it's going to unwind like that, I'm not gonna. What I'm going to do is cut the part that's unwound. That's easy unwinding. Why do it differently? By this stuff. I don't believe this. They took this apart when whatever was on here, it was wrapped in cloth. It was not wrapped in this vinyl. I mean, we're coming right up to the end of this parade. There it is. It's out of there. Okay, and we are in a good position. You want to check the wires. Look at the color, and man, oh yeah, that was a red and a gold. Yeah, well, it's not red and gold anymore, but it is in there. Remember, these things were only when they were 6, 7 years old, 55 to 62, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 years old when it got its new motor. So they had these babies mapped out, and we're looking at all the aspects of the 1 to 2 engine thing. Now this, I don't know. This is certainly not. I don't know. I think every once in a while, maybe I wrapped that myself and I had that out, but that doesn't really. It's been so long ago. You know, how many times I've been into something like this on a production machine or some old machinery. Lots of old machinery where you could run into something that looks like this, and yet you've got to get this back going. You've got people waiting for the product that this thing is driving. So forgive me for not remembering necessarily the work. I just don't believe if it was like that I would have wrapped it like that. I just left it. I got it because it was not concerning me. And what this green wire is doing, where is it? going? It goes there. Goes there. Yeah, that was somebody else's work, man. Getting that in there, I think. I really believe it. That's not me. And we're not undoing anything that may be there on a purpose. Again, there's that factory splice. There's goo. I don't know, but that is a factory put together. We need 2 wires to come out of that thing without having to go to a terminal. Money saving thing. All right, well, I guess we're ready to bring that out. I wonder what kind of screws these are. These need to be replaced with stainless screws. All the way down in there. I don't want to. I messed up a little bit on one of the screws. It doesn't really look. These will be much better. I'm going to go to Boise in the morning and go over to Garden City and go to my favorite fastener store. Absolutely most favorite. The power is completely off. This addition of spring brakes up here, boy, how do you talk about 10 pounds of chips in a 5-pound bag. Yes, indeedy. Okay. Now this should release this thing, I think. So it comes out of here. No. Didn't, not yet. Okay. The only ones I can think of are the ones in the parking brake that may not. Let's do that. These could hold the parking brake to something that wasn't cut out. I don't know. This is an ad. I'm not sure what. I don't know what was there before that. That's an interesting thing because this is, wow, that for some reason is a 1024 there, and it's stainless. I know why. It's because it's right through the there's your matching stainless. Yeah, and that's loosening the switch. And that's tying us to the, can you see what I'm working on? I guess you can, yes. Well, I was really cussing my Harbor Freight lights because of the flickering. They're flickering. They're AC lights is what they are, and they are flickering at 120 times a second. They've got LEDs going both ways to keep it lit. So, and then I shot in 50 cycles a second. I mean, I guess I could take it up quite a bit there. That's off. Look at that, okay? So that goes down that. We've got a panel that's loose. And why I don't believe get this off of here. I don't believe the switch goes with us. No, it doesn't. That's what I thought. It stayed here, and it also came through a I'm kicking the lighting. It also came through a hole that was not dislodged from the dash in the first place. So there's that big switch. Well, I did have this out of here when I painted it, so this, I might be the guilty one for putting the black tape on it. I don't know that I wouldn't have. I didn't have this fancy. Okay, we want that to come out over there. Go bring this up. Come on, boys. Come on, come to Papa. Oh yeah, well, I definitely put paint underneath it, didn't I? Okay, what do I got here? It's got a mess. But that's over here, this over here, oops. What I'm talking about is right here where that switch goes. It's being held up, holding it to the frame too, so that's okay. Well, that got us really where we need to be to make an examination of what's going on with this switch. I wish that switch just looked wonderful, beautiful there. Look at these, there's unhooked wires up here that I don't, now somebody took it out. I don't know what it necessarily is for, but it needs to be, it definitely needs to be done better than that. All right, here's my issue here. Let's take a look at this. This is the one I'm very much concerned with. This right here is a hot terminal. It got hot and it quit delivering to whatever it was going to, so I need to know what it is now. All I can think of here is that what this thing does is you have battery, and you have, here's battery, and here is auxiliary. Okay, now these other wires here need, where's my camera, need this switch works fine, and I mean it's working perfectly, and it is not, it has been in many times in the past in a moist condition, and it is still pretty super duper good. This is working just fine and dandy, but my point here is that there is telltale signs of a hot, this is hot wire. Look at that. This is a hot end, and that was a hot terminal inside this switch that brought something that I don't know what it is, and it looks like it's secondary equipment. Now, either I'm trying to figure out, does this hook that to power when you turn the switch on, or are these being hooked together when you turn the switch on? These two wires that look of the same nature and time added going down. What are those? So those are what I need to figure out. Everything else is really working good. This needs to be, I'm going to clean it up with, we'll get a brush set out for it and brush the dirt off. Hang on a minute. Where's the brush set? Right right. Because but anyway, you get the picture. This, again, the power is turned off out there, so it doesn't matter what I do. This is going to get cleaned up. I believe I'll go after this outer on this switch with yeah, it's just, there's nothing there. It's just, you change the surface tension. We could go, instead of doing what I was talking about, I could just Vaseline it and call that good. You know, wipe it up again, but you've changed that initial surface tension that lets the water and rest go on it in the first place. Wow, that looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. It looks like somebody's serviced that switch. And that's what's going to happen here. We're going to figure out what we got to do. And I'm on the big alert for a new, who's got the number of this switch and where can I get it? Do I got to go to Coach Parts? I don't know if they've got that or not. I don't think it's not important. This one works real good. I'm just going to take a real good look at what this is. We may be removing that loose contact entirely because I just do not know what that contact is up to. Let's have a look, see what we think it's up to maybe. So, now, I'm turning this on. I'm going to put it right down here. There's some more of that trash tape. Get that in the little trash can over here. Put the knife away. I love this that knife's a good one. And there's the antique stuff. Okay, this meter is in. Okay, I'm going to ring what? Okay, and we are in the off position. So what is a reading between, or absolutely, this is the, they're open. Now if I close this, turn this closed, I push that, pull this over. Okay, now what's the reading between there? Not gonna lie, this has to be, this, we need to 13 ohms. Okay, what's my 1 ohm? I want to figure out what this, okay, that okay, this is off. Push it in, turn it on. What are these other screws doing? Is all this stuff hooked together now? Let's see. So those two are getting power over there, and they're isolated, I suppose, when it's off from everything. Yes, they're isolated from everything else. Now this, Now this could be, I swear this could really be fixed. Whatever going on. I don't know, is this supposed to make a set of contacts when? Alright, when you turn it off? Let's see, that's run. What are these two doing? There is no, they're not in, wait a minute. I take that back. Oh. And from here to here, this could be, yeah, that's supposed to be hot too, and it isn't. So what's that wire doing? What was it supposed to be doing? I sure didn't put that wire in there, and I would think they were both supposed to pick something up. It got hot right there. I'm thinking that if I man, we could Gorilla Glue this thing and get it to settle down, clean the contact on it and put a new end, and that could work fine. But I don't know what in the world I'm feeding with those numbers. That's the issue at this point. Well, what I do know about it, it isn't being used, and I'm not gonna miss the opportunity to doctor it up with some of this fine antique tape. Well, I'm staring right at it. I'm not using that wire, I know that. And this thing with the, I do not believe this thing with the ignition is affecting me at all. I would like to, ignition could be a real drawback if it's not working correctly, I suppose. But this thing could be wired on to go. And this because this thing would, for some reason, quit on me for any reason. I'm up here. I'm taping off a wire end that isn't being used up here with the equipment. It doesn't affect anything that I'm dealing with. And there are systems that, that was here. It came up here, but there's oh, wait a minute. Oh, chime. Oh, wait a minute. Wow, there's the screw. No, I'm not getting it. That chime. How did it get away? How did it get away from there? Wow. The chime, that's from the chime. And the screw top popped off and let the wire go. That goes down here on that chime switch. Well, that'll have to be fixed. This is the air conditioning. I believe we'll, that's if you're going to turn a clutch on back there, and it covers several different, look at the system wires that go down from here that are not being used at this time. And I swear we wouldn't go about it quite like this anyway. That the parts are, yeah, if we were to put a driven compressor back on it, it would be very, very desirable to make those work. Man, that's away. That's out. I can deal with. It's at an angle. I can deal with everything that's going on. Remember, that's the chime I can see where, man, the head of its screw popped off. Well, this is worth doing for sure. And right now is the time that I can, where's that brush? I want to look at these screw heads and stuff. Now remember, this battery is completely, look how beautiful. I mean, just a little bit of scrubbing up. And this stuff goes, oh, well, that's alive. Looks alive. This stuff has a lot of tar on it because they allowed smoking on buses, and it did ventilate, but well, anyway, they did blow. They kept air comes up into here to keep this equipment to temperature. Those look pretty good. Everything looking good. Boy, brushing the trash. Man, it just brush the trash out of it. Don't you take this brush, don't you take that stainless steel brush to any of the, what's that one? That is upper deck fans, high or low. Well, I don't have, that's a set of relays, I'm sure, back there. Yeah, it goes one way, high, low. Where's the extra wire? There's only 2 wires here for that. I don't see, I don't see one taped off or associated with it. But I know that that's the chime wire. It goes right there. I'll have to put that back. Don't you forget to remind me to put the chime wire back into the switch when we go back. Yeah, I did. I had the I did. And I might be the one that wrapped it. That tape used to seem good to me. I don't know, or no, I had to. Yeah, maybe it's all I had. I thought I was doing myself a service. Well, I did, but you saw what I did before I brought it out of here. Because there's no way, with that stuff on there, there's no way we could do what we're doing right here. And this is what you want to do. There's no way. Oh, that old wire, I'm just going to have to tear all that old wire out and put in a few new ones. Okay. Let's move on. Thank you for the quote. I appreciate it. Sometimes I feel just like there's nothing on that to be read anymore. Whatever was on that, it's a number, but whatever. If we ever get really interested in it, and that is your drive axle loaded switch. Okay, well, what was on that? That was a deteriorating piece. There's another one has a number on it that goes there. Drive axle loaded. How many terminals does it have? It has, wow, drive axle loaded. Off. It's a double pull, double throw. That's what that is. And exactly what it's doing, I don't know. But the wire was, I am very cautious. I mean, aware of identifications that we may not want to give up on a wire. I need to go get the toothbrushes out. And I've got so many. But I do kind of pick them up and throw them away. This wire is good, mate. There's nothing wrong with this. And this is just the outer, what used to identify the wire. Okay, so you can't identify it that way anymore. Hey, no, get a life. And a long wire. Go for it, see what you can find. You can't be sure of it. It's like, okay, where's the other end of this wire? Okay, take the screw out of it and get this out hooked up to your meter and then go back to the back or wherever. Start feeling around for it till you find it. You know, you use your best hunting along the way. They spent $3 million putting the engines in the 900 and there was only a few wrecked by then, but they wasn't the full number anymore. It had some drop. Okay, so anyway, well, we need to clip off right now. I don't want anything that has dirt on it, so that goes down. And I'm going to cut myself just enough tape to do this job because I can't run the roll in there. So I'm going to set the roll down right there so it can fall somewhere else while I take the piece of tape that I need. Take the tape I need, which is right here. Take the tape I need. Let the roll. Oh, that's cool. I hope that works every time that way. I'm going to try that. Okay, we're going to put back some vinyl because vinyl is very good on a splice. Hang on a minute. It looks good. I'm not going to fool with that anymore. Let's just wrap this thing with some vinyl like it was. This adds a little bit of strength to the make of it, and see, that's another thing. When you bundle it so you can't really check things. This is another splice, but well, maybe we need that the dead giveaway that we've already repaired something or looked at it is the finish of the antique tape over the vinyl. Okay, that should be enough of the fine antique tape, and we will put this on here. I want some sharp angles here so we move quickly up to where we're going. Okay, now I'm really satisfied with myself because I have protected this a little bit more against getting wet, which it could get wet through the cloth only tape. And again, this cloth tape is a outer. This is what you make the looms with. This is loom tape for antiquing, and so that's what we did there. This, well, look at that. That goes to, oh, that's the fast. That's a fast idle wire. It's I'm not gonna. What in the world? So, fast idle. That is, I think that's probably a mechanic finish fix of something. They've got quite a bit of this wire wrapped around here. It goes. It's just an on-off fast idle. And why did they pick? Where does that go and why? I know that it works. I know that circuit works. You know, it ain't broke. Again, we're just looking for defects or anything that could cause us issue that we don't want out there. Why are these wires so tight around that? Where are they going? Are those the wires to the no way. Yes, they are. Well, why are they going like that? I was just looking at this. Now see, here's the rheostat. This works, but I've seen this in new cars and such where, wow, there's a set of wires associated with the thing right there that are being pulled tight when I really think they ought to be coming around they should be coming around. Or we make sure we don't tighten it off and we let them come around like that and just leave them alone. But I don't want them leaning in on this when we get it back in there. I don't want it leaning in hard in here either. That is not acceptable at all. Oh my goodness. We got to get our lighting turned around here. There we go. So we're talking about right in here, which is my high-low blowers switch arrangement. I don't need those interfering with that. That all works real good. I don't see anything here that's the other than I want these wires to have more slack. I don't like maybe they should be coming underneath, but then again, they can be placed differently and slack found. As you see, we can find some slack for those as we're putting this thing back and supporting it, and we'll do it differently. So I don't like it to rest on that corner edge like that. Let me get this thing something to rest on. Yeah, this will do. Right here. I want this. Under the loom right here. Okay. Support it. We need to figure out what in the world those are. It got hot, whatever it was driving. I just don't know what it was driving. What'd they do? I didn't put that stuff in there. Man, I would have been real disappointed. I'm really surprised that shocked the chime switch. Amazing. We'll get that fixed. I gotta have my chimes. If some kid in the back or something annoying you with the chimes, you can just turn it off. That's what that amounts to. So anyway, and take a real good look at what we see here. For this switch. Do this, stop. All right, we're back. Got plenty of memory. Got new toothbrushes. Toothbrushing over here. Again, I'm going to mention that I couldn't, after looking over the original socket, the one that I pulled down and mounted the new one, I couldn't bring myself because it wasn't as bad. I hadn't given it a good enough look to make a comment on it, and it is excellent. And its wire has, you can even see the color of the wire. Let me take this camera in there a minute. I'm going to fold the legs. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to take it in there reasonably close. See if we can. Oh gosh, look at it shake. Okay, let me see if I can. All right. Maybe we can get something that looks reasonable there, I hope. But my point is that that's from the original loom. It's tied in, and it is exactly the same die as the one that Quickwire seems to have the rights to. The way I'm seeing it. At least they got the right to sell the ones they're doing. So anyway, this is what my last complaint was. I just thought bringing it is that they wrap these two wires together. And the one I don't, no, you don't do that. It's just a bad practice. If you've added or done something that somebody else needs to check out, that makes it a whole lot easier to get where you're going. And without, trying to figure what happened. So anyway, we're going for we're after breaker 24, which is this one right down here in the corner. that is going to, it's a one wire deal. It's a big wire, it goes into an original loom that isn't attached to it's not attached to the big one, it's under there. And that's got to be a good piece of wire, but we could eliminate it and bring that number 24 breaker directly without, tape off that wire and bring it straight up to number 21 right there. Number 21 is right here. And that's this whole loop that goes out to the key for the broken terminal. It doesn't get power, it's a isolated switch that when you turn it on, this gets power. And I believe I've looked at all the other connections as I turn on this. It has 1, 2, 3 separate places. This switch turns them on to power, and it interrupts them all. And I would say that is to prevent some kind of feedback when the switch is in the off position, instead of having all those things go out there. It's sort of like what I'm talking about here is that those 2 new flashers I bought, they weren't, I thought they were good and working good, but man, they're not. They're reacting to some kind of current going through the light, the little indicator light. I don't know. I need Paul Carlson to take a look at these. So this is a fine Canadian made, and we must give the Canadians some real credit. And Mr. Carlson's lab is where you want to go if you want to know something about electronics and you want to know something about capacitors and the installation of capacitors in the correct direction. You need to see videos that he has on YouTube available without doing anything but just go look at it and suffer through the ads. But that's what I do. I don't. Input lead must be fused. Yeah, well, it is. It's not a fuse, it's a breaker. And these are just, all I can say is that's a fine piece. And it doesn't, it has no indication. And it just ticky-tocks away when I put it in. But I have it out because I'm curious to see what the coil resistance is on that one compared to this one, and what did GM do that makes this circuit want to feed back some way on that flasher. Or am I wrong? These flashers don't have to be. I never seen these flashers don't say positive ground. I'm just assuming you put them in the same way. You look at the circuit where it's asking for the fuse it. I don't know if it's asking for it's just assuming something in its statement. So I went to Industrial Hardware and I bought the stainless hardware. That's my signature in this bus, is anything that I have taken out and worked on, this stuff has been replaced with stainless steel. That looks much like what it was. I think these might have been straight blade. They certainly weren't stainless, and everything was just a little bit tough to get out originally, and it's a piece of cake now. I want to have another look at this, see if I can get a good shot of this issue on the look at that. And these are the two I'm talking about, and it just, I don't know, it blows me away. I feel very insecure about sending my headlights up here to the ignition switch like that. Now I could see if we were attached to the auxiliary somewhere out there, and maybe you could run it, but I certainly at this point don't want to add these to that auxiliary. We want them to come straight off of the breaker down here to the number 21 to the four-way, the high beam switch, and on its way. So that's what we're looking for here, and I'm just making gibberish is what I'm doing, looking at the cabling and how it was changed and wondering what was changed at what points. They did do upgrades of different natures on it. I don't believe the spring brakes. There used to be a big handle, and there's a deal underneath the floor right there where the handle used to go to put on the brake that was around the drive shaft. That brake and equipment is no longer there, but you can see the infrastructure for holding the brake and stuff on the drive shaft, basically. But there's nothing there. Whatever was for going away, I think went away. I'm sure of it. I just know that there's a place where it bolted to around the yoke, around the pinion yoke, and there's a place where the backing plate and brake shoes were attached on the other side, and it's not all that. There's not much difference without it there, and I'm glad it's gone. It makes me very nervous that anybody ever thought holding a truck by its drive shaft was a good idea. Well, it beats nothing at all, but not by much. Not by much. And they finally figured that out. And when I was a little kid at 62 and 63, see how old was I? 62. I was 10 years old when we're talking about when my dad had a truck with a 220 Cummins, and the Southfield Hay Company had these two brand new Freightliners, white Freightliners with 318 Jimmys in them. Oh, they were the talk of the town. And they could beat us going uphill. I mean, they'd be pulling at 30, and there we are at 24. Boy, they fly by, man. They're flying by. Yeah, they got us by 6 miles an hour. That's pretty fast when they're passing you at that. So that is what these Detroit engines did at that time. And the 62 Freightliner, ours was a 62. We are talking 63 or 64 when this happened, because everybody was simply a gog of this 8V71 Detroit. And so many trucks, cracker boxes, and Freightliners, and everybody else. The Freightliners are the ones I really know, but I know just about everybody had them, so that weren't that big a deal. I need to go locate these wrenches so we can move on with looking this electrical bus over here. I'm serious about wanting to maybe take that plate out of there. It's the only way you got. Okay, if a breaker goes bad in there, well, we're going in to take a look at some strategic breakers anyway. I'll have to have a better look. Okay, here we are in section 7, the electrical section anyway. I know that at this point, I'm going to ask the computer this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the back side of the illustration in the original manual here. And this is where, in between me being stupid, well, just being ignorant of what they did, what's going on, what is the deal with this set of contacts, this alerted me, obviously, that there was something amiss here. I am so lucky that I didn't have any problem with this, according to the heat that it was building over whatever given period of time that I'm running the headlights. And that's what's on this. I want to point out, let's bring this thing a little bit closer. This is the control to the air conditioner. I was talking about the resistor where the wires are coming over. Oh, okay, I got to watch out putting my my hands on the screen. Okay, here is where we are again, right here, this control panel. And I'm going to ask to blow this up and bring it to us a little bit right here. Okay, and right here. Okay, this is the air conditioning switch that I'm complaining that the wires are coming in and stretching themselves around this switch. Well, that's what they did. They've probably done that. I can't see how anybody would have ever changed it. And a refrigeration service man putting a new one of these in, shame on you if he's the one that did it. But this wire in the loom is coming over the top. I have to bring them back. There's plenty of room, and take them in here to hook them up. That way they're not coming around the switch. There'll be plenty of slack and everything will be okay on this little wire. All right, let's go over to the ignition switch here. I wonder if I could blow this up one and yeah, that's not too bad. What I've been talking about here is that this thing looks like it's been added, this wiring. So on this, I want to point out, here are you have the battery, and then 1, 2, 3 terminals that get negative power all at the same time, or get hot power all at the same time, but yet when you open the switch, they are isolated from each other. I believe there's a feedback issue with the buzzers and low air buzzers and things like that. There are selenium rectifiers in the original makeup of this thing, so I just don't have all the answers to why it's done this way, but that's what I do know about. If it isn't done this way, something may feed back. So what I want you to notice is, here's this auxiliary set of contacts. Now this only makes contact to itself. As you've turned it on, this is proof that you've turned it on. This is your your proof contacts. Auxiliary contact might be something for it just tells the system, okay, yeah, you're closed. Or somebody decides, hey, I want the headlights to go off. These drivers are turning off the engine and leaving the headlights on, and it's running the batteries down, and we can't start the bus. Maybe that's their beef. But if you look at these two terminals in this picture, this is the original manual. Those are not used in this. And I just need to point that out. There's nothing coming to this terminal here. And there's nothing really under here. They may not even have a screw in them. I don't see any real evidence. It's not a good picture of it. I don't know where I could get an absolute better picture than on mine with these wires that are out of place. The wires are not the same as the loom, but they are the same as some of the wire that goes all the way from the front to the back. This set of really quite a few of them that do important jobs and run from the front to the back, and are of a plastic material that's still as good. It's just great. It's good today. And there are a few materials in this bus that are that way. But in this picture, I do not see anything. And there's no truth table in when we talk about, there's no truth table to it here, telling you what the switch does when it does. So I had to figure it out. And the way I figured it out was this contact is, there's a little hole that's burned here. It's just big enough for the rivet to come out. I mean, this thing, and the contact on the back doesn't show any heat. I feel like the heat was built on the wire that was going in here, that this is where the resistance started, and it burned out the phenolic, and it popped out of there. So now this is my point. What I've really discovered is there was a point that those headlights would go on if the, hey, turn on the headlight switch and it's got power. It comes from fuse 24 up to terminal 21 and out to the dimmer switch. And that's that circuit right up until somebody got the wise idea here. And I don't know, my bus could have had this done right from when it was brand new. It's a good, excellent job of getting this extra set of 2 wires up this loom. It was wrapped. Now, whether I did that, I'm just trying to think. It seems to me like it was in the summer. I'll bet I brought that whole bundle this whole bundle was, wrapped, and I unwrapped it so we'd have the flexibility. I think I was in the hot summer 33 years ago, or 32 of the years ago, and I just brought that out. It was 30 years better condition, I suppose. It doesn't look any different now than it did then. I have taken really good care of this, other than letting it take a sauna one time under the tent. But it didn't get hurt. It's got to be able to take some punishment. It has over the years, I'm sure. But here's that engine control. I'm on the hunt. Oh, I got to get my. I have an original parts manual. I want to see what they call the number on this thing, because I'm going to be talking to Coach Parts and that. It really doesn't matter to me. If I'm going to get this under control, I will be looking for the switch. This is a good switch. I will do everything to rejuvenate this switch. We'll get some dielectric grease inside it, and we'll patch the hole that the little contact come out of. I am not going to. There's just no way I'm going to run my headlights. I don't think that's a good idea anyway. Headlights are a very important thing in instances. So you start losing your headlights. This could be a foggy day or some crap. Not just a clear old day. Oh, I'm going to lose my headlights there. No, it's not going to happen there. Let's bring this picture back up here into the sight. And this is, again, what I'm talking about. Is that this terminal and this terminal are an auxiliary switch on the, and that's where my problem is. This other stuff's it'll work fine. I got to work on the continuity here. I'm going to use some contact cleaner. We'll go through the whole, I'll dump this stuff out, and then I will pump grease in there so the whole thing gets oiled inside with dielectric properties that'll allow those contacts to give me a better reading than 13 or 14. I don't know what I was looking at there, but this is a very big concern of mine, that we clean this switch up. We take all these screws out, and check the contacts. I'll be after it with a resistance meter, believe me, at what I'm looking at between this thing turned on before we put it back in. And or somebody will have told me, hey man, that's only they want this much for that switch, and I'm going to just scratch my head at such a horrible price and buy one if it's new and has all of the tricks. I still can't see myself wanting my headlights over that auxiliary set of contacts up here. That's a long. Why subject this more control here to your headlight circuit? I don't know. If it was running a headlight relay, I might feel better about what they did. But here I am with a 69-year-old bus. She's got to be pretty good for her 70th birthday. I gotta make sure this stuff works. I can't run without the headlights, not even during the day. I didn't. That's the thing that strikes me, is the last time I took it was this year. I took my whole family up to pancake breakfast, and well, the Golden Corral, whatever you want, breakfast. And I ran the headlights, but I didn't sit and look at them to see what they were doing. But this circuit was carrying my headlights, and that's what I discovered when I brought up. Let me bring up another. I got to make another stop here and bring up a slide. I don't want you to. Okay, here we are at the schematic. Let's see this. I need to pull this. Where am I? Oh, no, don't touch it right now. I've been highlighting the area that we're going to look at, and just exactly where this is on the print. And I would like to look at, if somebody has the 4104 and the 410 whatever, the 41 series bus. That's the 2-axle 41 passenger bus, I guess, is what 35 passengers is what I think we're talking about. I don't know. They can squeeze some kids in there. Hey, they can carry some passengers. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to do this. I want to pull this as far as can I do it? That's as far over as I'm going to get it on this page, I do believe. So we're going in right here. This is the back of the ignition switch. Let me bring this up. There we go. Right here is the back of the ignition switch on the after engine change print. I do not have a before the engine change print. I do have some features in the original maintenance manual of it, but not really. So here's the back of the switch. Here's your battery coming in. Here's the auxiliary that I'm going to go up this way a little ways. Man, it runs along right here and powers up fuses that were right here on our line. Now right here, what you see is this right here is my headlight circuit in the drawing here, and this is the battery terminal of the headlamp dimmer switch. That's power going to it. That goes out on 82. And this is a J at the junction box up to that's the Amphenol plug. So it looks like to me like J on the Amphenol plug goes to 82, and it was picked up there and goes to the battery terminal, the power supply on the dimmer switch. And there's your headlight switch right there. And right here, let's go right here. Let me bring this up. Now here are the two wires. Here's this B and C. There's that set of contacts. However, it's drawn on here. It might be upside down, but don't pay no never mind to that, because I'm not entirely placing this. They've doing it the way they had to draw it. But here you have this B and C, and what they do is B goes down, and right here it goes into a loom. There's a splice here, and this wire will reach right to terminal 21 right here. This wire 24 that comes up and comes out of the loom and is spliced right here, and then that splice goes up to the engine switch, and then back down to 21. And this is absolutely a spliced in situation on my bus, and I cannot tell you that, oh no, this was done somewhere else, or this was done after it was new. I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that the loom was the same. I mean, they ordered the loom. They had to make this, they had to make a splice right here. A real nice cloth-covered wire came out and joined to a completely plastic machine tool type wire, and goes up. It works its way up to my ignition switch. And it's done in such a way I can't tell you that it wasn't done when this bus was brand new. Greyhound may have already decided they want these lights to go off when the switch is turned off. And so be it. Yeah, my bus is 69 years old, and I am, or 70, you know what it's building, but I am absolutely unable to say this wasn't done before the bus came out brand new, but it was done after the looms were all built, so the lights would just turn on when you'd pull out that switch, and you could leave the headlights on. So it's going to go away for now until I find this anyway. But what I have decided is that I am going to shrink a little piece of tubing on there, put a little bit of antique tape, so it's on these. These are a plastic wire of the time. I have the whole back end, front to back. There's a big section of this exact wire that could take any kind of weather. I'm not sure where it's going. It's not taking any now, but it's a very tough machine tool, heavy many strands in its makeup wire, and that's what they ran up to the dash. There's I can't see any markings on it. It's not a National Electric Code wire or anything, but it is what it is, and it's good. So I've decided I'm going to leave them there. We're going to leave that wire there. We'll make the ends up, leave it run right. I have no reason, but right here I'm undoing it. I'm going to take it off at 24. That's the breaker that we're working on right here. This is, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, here it is. This is the fuse bus, and this is breaker 24. I'm very, let's put it this way, see, I have taken steel wool to it to clean up this surface. Now this is a tarnish or it's a bluing, some type of a coating like melanite or something. I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is I've decided I am not taking this down to some kind of shiny bare metal or whatever. It has a beautiful, the braze job around this non-ferrous bolt. I believe it's bronze or brass too. It has this uniform darkness to it, and I'm just going to clean up the contacts, and we're going to put new star cut-in washers that really give it make sure the path is good to it, along with the dielectric compound, whatever it is. And we're going to I bought 10 new 20 amp fuses. I'm going to, that will give me the ability, number one, this has 1 ohm of resistance. That seems like about a correct amount of resistance for a bimetal piece that's going to automatically go open, and it'll go open real fast too. These things will also they'll burn out under the right conditions right here. So they're a breaker and a blowout place if it's a real short, and still act like a fuse. I guess they're pretty good stuff back in the day, but anyway, this is where we are. Is right here is the bottom. This is breaker 24, and it goes directly. There's right there by breaker 24 is where the wire that is coming from breaker 24 is been taken out of the loom, and this wire added goes up to the ignition switch and then back down. I don't want that added to my headlights. Not really. It's just there's more wire and stuff. So anyway, it's got to come out anyway until I get a new switch can cover it, or give me all I need is a switch so I can, with great confidence, pull the tabs up on that phenolic bottom and start thinking about making some new parts with some friends I know that have good machinery to do it with. And that may be what I do, or if I can get a brand new one of these, I don't know, maybe Coach Parts does sell this. I haven't asked them yet. Whatever, I don't want my headlights on that ignition, that switch. If I lean over and turn on the headlights, or I have a reason to want to identify my bus in the front right now, I don't want to have to turn on the switch to do it. I just want to flip that switch and the headlights come on. It seems like a safety issue to me as far as identifying your bus sitting there and somebody's headed right for the front of it, backing up. Some stupid thing. There's plenty of reflectors. It's just it's a maybe thing. You can see how I did it and suffer along with me. I just wanted you to know what we were looking for, so you could sit and say, man, you're way off. You're not there yet. So, comments, I'd love them. I am ordering some more fuses. I don't want to leave any of those underneath that beautiful plate. I want them to all look at that thing and say, oh, then that's a 20 amp fuse. I can see that. The plate lets that show. And I know I need an 8 amper for that, but that's where you are. That plate is missing from here right now. And we are moving forward to get the Hesperus up and running again. The wire is in. Man, that's good wire, folks. That's good wire. There's nothing. And look at this stuff that they made the splice with. I have a bunch of this. You know, it's in the engine compartment. It's from, this is the wire that's used from the engine compartment to the Amphenol plugs to the engine. That's what this wire is like. And it's perfect. And that's, like I say, there's nothing saying that wasn't done. Nothing. This shows on the print the after. That's 62 that this shows on the print, but I think it showed on the print before too, or it didn't, and it was added. That's it. I'm gonna release this, show you guys where I am. I'm waiting for more circuit breakers. I want to go over, you know, I see connections that need to be wrestled around, put a little bit of dielectric compound cleaned up, some just to make it better. If it looks like there may be a little bit of resistance under there, we're going to take the wire up and address the problem. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Comments, questions, part number of the switch, and whose bus uses this switch. I've given a lot of shots of it here. If you recognize this switch, give me a shout out and say, hey, that is the same switch I have, and tell me what bus it's in. Or if you got a part number, hey, and that would really be appreciated. It would. So this is August Allen, and I'll talk to you later.